We've made it to the final mode, the seventh mode, the Locrian mode. A mode so dark, I had to wait to the dead of the night to record this video. So what makes this mode so dark? Well, there's a dissonance to it, and we're gonna go over that right now. So we're in the key of C major, which, if C is 1, C, D, E, F, G, A, B. That means B is the seventh note, which is where the seventh mode is gonna fall. So the B on the low E string is gonna be the 7th fret. Now, all we need to do is play B, C, D, E, F, G, A, and B. So, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B. Now, if again, every finger gets its own fret, it's gonna be index, middle, pinky, index, middle, pinky, index, ring. Now, the reason this sounds so dissonant, so dark, is because there are two intervals that provide this. And the first one is gonna be right off the bat, right? So this is a minor second. It's just a half step off the root from B to a C. Now there's one other mode that we did with this, and that's Phrygian, right? Remember that was on the E, so like the 12th fret E. Same thing is on the B. Now to add to this, we're gonna flatten the 5. So what I mean by that is we're gonna go to where the normal 5 would be in the major scale, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but we're gonna flatten that. So, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B. All right, so these two intervals kind of make it an uncomfortable sounding scale or mode. But that doesn't mean it doesn't have its uses, and we're gonna talk about how you can use it, right? And the first way to do that is to make a chord out of it, right? So if we take the first, third, and fifth note, that's how we get our triad. There's the first, a minor third, and a flat 5. Now, this kind of might look familiar, and that's why we're going to relate this to the minor scale. So this is the same thing as the minor scale, with a flat 2 and a flat 5. So here's B again. Here's B minor, as we know. And here's B Locrian. So the minor scale with a flat 2 and a flat 5. Now, if you wanted to make this a chord, having that flat 5 really changes things. So we can't make a B minor chord here. We're gonna make a B diminished, right? So diminished just means flat 3 and a flat 5, or a minor third and a flat 5. Now, there's that B again. So that's gonna be the triad 1, 3, flat 5 chord here. Now, if we wanna go one step further, we're gonna add the 7th note. This is gonna be minor 7. So 1, 3, flat 5, 7. I'm on the D string now on the 7th fret, so. Now, if we were to make this a chord shape, and you wanted to root it on this exact B, you put your middle finger here, you get this minor 7, flat 5 chord, right? So there's a chart for that. Middle finger 7E, ring finger 7D, pinky 7G, and your index finger 6B. So it's very close to a minor 7 chord, but it has a flat 5. There's the 5 right there. Now the A string voicing is probably one that I see a little bit more. And if we go to the B on the A string, that's the 2nd fret. So 2, 3, 2, 3. B minor 7 flat 5. Again, a movable shape. There's C minor 7 flat 5. C sharp minor 7 flat 5. D minor 7 flat 5. All right. Now, one thing you can do if you don't like the sound of that diminished nature chord, you can actually treat this as a minor chord. Now, you're not going to be in the key the whole time, but all you're going to do is change that 5 and make it a natural 5, which would be, right, there's the B again. That's an F sharp right there, the 9th fret. So we would be introducing F sharp into the key of C. We're kind of borrowing from another key, the key of G, however you want to look at it, and bringing it in there. So a chord progression that you could do like a 1, 5, 7 chord progression, which would be C major is 1, G major is 5, 7 is right there, okay? So a lot of people like that sound. If you don't like that sound, just pretend it's a minor chord, right? 1, 5. It works. You know, no one's gonna call you on it and be like, oh, that's the wrong thing. Basically, you can think of it as a 4th minor chord in a scale, but if you want to be technical, make it a minor 7 flat 5 chord. So I want to talk a little bit more about this shape right here. Now, if you notice, the first mode that we did was actually the major scale in C, right? Where we went middle, pinky, index, ring, pinky. If you have that shape memorized, and you should, all you have to do is just start 1 fret back, right? So there's C major, B Locrian, you just start on the B. B, and then continue on through the major scale. And this is nice because there's really a lot of symmetry in this shape. Now what I mean by that is the first 2 strings that you play are going to be index, middle, pinky. And the next 2 are going to be index, ring, pinky. And the next one is going to be middle, pinky, index, middle, pinky, right? So this is, I think this is actually one of the easier shapes to remember just because there's so much symmetry going on. Now I want to draw your attention to this group of 4 notes right here. In the Locrian scale, it would be the first note, the second note, skip the third note, the fourth note, and the fifth note. It's kind of like a little box right here, right? So 1, 2, right there. Now you'll notice this repeating throughout the fretboard. So I think another really obvious place is in the Mixolydian, the 5th mode that we did starting on G. There it is again, right? There's the B on the A string. So anytime you see this box, you know that that's where the Locrian mode is, and you can relate it to other things, just how there are shapes hidden inside of other shapes, which is one of the big principles that I'm trying to drive home in this video series. And now you can use that to your advantage by inflecting chords you already know, right? So if we're in this here, and we just talked about that box right there, think of the chord you can make with this, right? There's an E minor chord, which is the 3rd chord, C, D, E, in the key of C. Now you can take this, just the movable shape part of it, right? And get it down into that spot. And that's starting to give you the sound of Locrian. See, it sounds pretty dark, right? It sounds kind of heavy, maybe like metal. A lot of metal guys play the Locrian mode a lot, or they incorporate diminished runs, so on and so forth, into their playing. But that's something that you can always do. You don't always have to move the whole thing together, but think of these 4 corners of a box as just different ways you can inflect a chord. All around just this one E minor chord. I'm just taking E minor and I'm adding the 3rd fret on the D and the A string respectively. And these are just ways you can alter chords to make different things. So there you have it, the Locrian mode, sometimes pronounced Locrian. Again, nobody really cares, whatever. But in the next video, we're going to show how to put all 7 of these modes together and how you can practice all of them.